What's up, everybody? Want to play a few minutes of this Grizz, because it's so freaking pretty. I gotta do one thing real quick, guys. Sorry. Boop, 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 boop. There we go. What's up, dorks? So yeah, we're watching Grizz. I just wanted to play this game for a second. Just realized you're not seeing any of it. Alright, that sucks. Here we go. Ooh boy. Alright, so probably gonna start that over because that was really pretty and I didn't have it live because I'm new at this. Oh. Maybe not. Maybe I'll just play. Ooh, cool. So I think spacebar is going to be jump, and I tried and she fell over. Nothing else works. What's up, Joe? Yep, I can't jump yet. Oh, she fell on her own that time. This is a game called Grizz. I guess I'm pronouncing that right. G-R-I-S. Grizz, perhaps? Oh, now we're running. And I can jump. Kind of want to go back now. It's a hand-drawn platformer. No, I'm using the keyboard because my controller's not plugged in. And there's no mouse at all, so I think it's just a platformer. But yeah, it's hand-drawn, and these are my art students. I figured I'd play it for the first time with everybody. Whee! Splat. Wow, his headache's still there. That's awful. Oh, things are moving. Oh, look. Okay. Dude, the way the cape is animated is freaking beautiful. Look at that. Gree? Yep, that's a good guess. It won best. It won something this year's Game Awards. Best narrative or best indie game or something like that. Apparently, it's about battling depression, which is interesting. Oh, so cool. Sorry you guys didn't see the intro. I had my screens all mixed up. But here we go. Now I've got a little sprite chasing me. Is that my mouse? Nope. Arrow keys? Nope. Okay. We'll get into the critiques here in just a second. I just wanted to let everybody get in here. Hey, Caden. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. My first puzzle. I don't know the controls. Okay. I'm going up, because this is not the way I came down. That's cute. Okay. Alright. Oh, I got two of them. So I'm going to need 3, right? There it is up there. Oh, so cool. I absolutely can show you that. There's definitely a gap between when you're typing it and when I'm seeing it, and when I say it again and when you hear the response, for sure. There's always a delay, if that's what you mean. A minute. Yeah, that's bad. Oh, cool. I'm bringing color back. That's neat. Okay. That's cool. That's cool. Just wanted to play that for the first time. That's definitely gorgeous. I could lose myself with that at any given time. Let me come back to the art screen. And go. Okay, I don't think I did that right, but here we are. Cool. Just trying not to show off our Discord. Anyway. Well, here's what I've been working on lately. It's a page of Butcher Queen. It's nice and busy, crowded street scene. Pretty neat. Let me get some music back up. Of course, it's obnoxious, but we'll just have it in the background, and if it's too obnoxious, let me know, and I'll turn it down. You know me, I like to have noise in the background. Okay, so here we are. First things first. I think Aiden gets the prize for having work turned in first. Not turned in per se, but something for us to go over. Excuse me. Let's close mine down, save some memory. Okay, so up first, we got Aiden's page 3. We got his plague doctor cutting his troll-like attacker in 3 different pieces. Pretty cool. Most importantly, Aiden, if you're watching, is that I get this right away. I immediately know what's going on. So that's good, right? I don't like the slice word right off the top. Hey, Laurel. It's legible, so that's something. I don't think we need the serif. I think maybe it'll look better. Just like that. Also, I feel like if this is our page borders, I feel like the art's just a little bit close to the edge. And especially the word slice, right? Like it's just unnecessarily close. I think if we shrunk it by like 10-20% and then gave our art room to breathe a little bit. Also, I'm unsure what this shape is here. Let me stop drawing over your art and start drawing over your art. And you know me, I like my pinks and blues. Okay, so I don't know what this shape is here. And I feel like if there's what needs to happen is that we need to see what came before us, right? So we need to see. I think it would look better if we had some sort of slash motion from the background to the foreground. So this is our new page constraints. And then the word slice, I would think, would be where the slice is happening instead of in the foreground. Does that make sense? I think it does. And then you could always like cover it a little bit with what's in the foreground, right? So it's like you know what I'm saying? It's like, say the hand is covering part of the C and the body's covering the bottom part of the E, stuff like that. Yeah, I think slice would work better if it was in the action. or near the action, or showing us what the action is, or something like that, rather than having it on the blade, or the blad, as Joe puts it. But anyway, I want to see some sort of element connect the background to the foreground. That's all. And then maybe, actually, this would be really cool. So you'd have the plague mask. A little longer, perhaps. And then maybe even have a reflection of the plague mask in the blade that's in the foreground, maybe, perhaps. And then this panel here is okay. I shrunk the art so we have a little more real estate. So we just have more room. Like the arm is so to the top that it's almost like not being seen, right? It needs to be more important than that. And it needs to be maybe a closer miss. So I would not worry about having the blade in there, because that's not really relevant to the scene. Doesn't really add anything. Maybe have the arms doing something like this, with the blade going this way. And then you've got all of this up here. You could even do like a duck and a whiff. And then you could sort of do what you did, but do it more, maybe more manga, where like it's mostly black, but it's you know, just a vague shape of the arm. Enough that you know it's an arm, you know, but still all blurred out, motion blurred. And then you could still have your whiff in the background. But that just gives more real estate to the action, right? And then yeah, I think that's good. And I think even you've got some empty space that and stop putting your name on everything. Nobody's gonna steal it. This gives you an opportunity to fill the rest of this space with some gore. And like I said, I don't know what. I think it's maybe it's part of the blade. I need to see what the blade looks like, but I don't know how easily I can access another one of your pages if the blade comes out both sides of the staff. You know, I'm not sure. I have a feeling Aiden's not here. But yeah, there's a lot of extraneous lines going on back here that kind of confuse me. Gotcha. Okay. Thanks, Sabrina. Okay, well then in that case, I gotcha. Okay. Then... Okay. Then slice in the foreground might not be so bad. And it sells... I feel like I can hear myself. I can. Gotcha. Alright. Yeah. Well, so okay, so I'm confused, right? So that's not good. So I know it's not colored yet, and that would probably help. But I think more motion lines, more blurs, more streaks, and then maybe. See, I don't know. I kind of feel like I need a photo reference now. Like, how would I pose this guy? The arms are great. I think one arm this way, like you've got it. Other arm this way, like you've got it, is also great. I think that's awesome. And the head's going off this way. Very cool. Looking over their shoulder kind of thing. But if they dashed, then we've got... You know, what are the legs doing, right? We're going to see one of the legs down here. Does that mean the other one's doing one of these things? Alright, gotcha, Joe. Open space. Oh, okay. Cool. So yeah, slice going in this open space I kind of like again, knowing that it's the motion part. But maybe I would find a way to make the letters work with the motion. And like I said, I really want to see something connecting the background and the foreground. I know you've did all this and it looks finished, and I'm making a lot of changes and things that look just like fundamentally like restructuring, but I think filling this space... Oh, make the blood and guts and stuff come with the slash too, right? Like if there's stuff coming out of them. Same with the arm. Like if the arm's been lopped off, just make everything come with it. You know, like a candle in the wind. And that connects with the swoosh. And then maybe even have some blood up here. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so this fills up the negative space up here. Just put the blade off the panel here. Don't even worry about it. I think the fact that it was like hooking down this way was really kind of strange. And confusing. I didn't know if it was part of the cloak, you know, because this guy's got the same stitching all over his costume. So that was a little confusing. So just forget about the blade. A lot of motion lines. The body's just about perfect. I wouldn't even really want to fix anything. Like, it's just great. I just put the rest of the body down here to sort of figure out what I'm looking at. And then that might help you with some of the extra folds. Yeah, the glove is awesome. Detail in the glove work is great. It's possible that his head is probably looking a little too far back. I'm the most inflexible person on the planet, so I cannot look over. I can look over my shoulder, but my head's not going over my shoulder. Maybe if I did more yoga, but I think it would look best if it were just, and this is some Photoshoppery. Nope, not rotate, flip. Yeah. Right, that's probably a little more believable. Just over the shoulder, right? I mean, I can get into a voice chat on Discord if you guys want, so we can actually like talk to each other. Your voice is going to come through on the stream, which is live. Really cool page though, Aiden. I think it's great. Just a couple tweaks really sell the idea. Like I said though, I don't know if you heard me. When I saw it, I immediately knew what was going on. So, as clarity is our goal, you nailed it, right? So, and if clarity is the prize, then oh nice, yeah, look at that. You're already making changes. Very cool. As clarity is the goal, you can move on to the next page, right? It's already figured out. But if you want to make changes, then you can. All right, on to the next one. I think gonna try to go chronologically. I got Sam hit me up around 12:05. I think she was the next one to. Yeah, and then Caitlin shortly after. Alright, so it looks like Sam's mostly done all of her thumbnails, with page 1 and 2 looking less thumbnail-y and more finishy, right? And this line work is freaking great. I love it a lot. But yeah, so we got people walking down a hallway. Missing dog poster. I hate everything about this, except for the characters are awesome. But no, it's the person on the left must be talking first. This crisscrossing speech balloon thing is a big no-no. So don't do that. Just have her talking first. Yeah, line work is incredible. I love it. So just have her talking first. Good luck fitting text in a goofy bean-shaped balloon like that, but go for it. And then have this character talking second. Keep it simple. Yeah, crisscross balloons, my brain just went like, don't. Please don't. A lot of negative space here. Get rid of that. Just fill up the panel. Leaving enough room for speech. Sometimes you can go wider with speech than a perfect balloon. Maybe put his head out in front of it a little bit. That's a cool trick. Just to make it fit, you know. Yeah, I love trying different, but not with speech balloons. That has to stay so fundamentally, unflinchingly simple. You know what I mean? Also, a lot of negative space here, here. Try to fill that up a little bit, even if it's making your characters a little bit bigger. Which, looking at it, you know, we don't need to see as much of their body. Perhaps. Speech balloon up here. And then you can always break up your speech balloon so there's like a couple words here and then maybe some closing remarks here. Keep the eye line moving, right? This is great. I love this panel a lot. Empty space here, so even I'd maybe, you know, fill that with background. I guess it looks like they're in the school hallway, so you know, lockers and stuff. You just have a good character moment here to tell. Remember, your backgrounds are a character too, so here's a moment to tell more character. Maybe there's, depending on your scene, maybe there's kids in the background, fire hydrant on the wall, bell above the door, you know, old school bell, motivational posters that they have in school, stuff like that. Yeah, line work is very good. But yeah, this is your establishing shot here, so spend a lot of time on this. So if these are lockers, you know, you can actually probably cheat a little bit. I certainly would. And then, yeah, that looks like one good locker, so then just copy and paste. So forth, so on. Maybe some trim under the thing, and then if you're really fancy, give them a reflection. All right. Give the janitor some props. You could try some tiles on the floor. Now this is a 1-point perspective. I would say your perspective is right around here, just above their feet. So you could lay out some tiles on the ground and make a otherwise very flat, not boring, but flat scene have some dimension. By putting some tiles on the floor. Right. Pretty cool. Anyway. Yeah, very good as well. I need to get better at that. A lot of times my characters' mouths are just open because they're talking. They're like marionettes. Yeah, a lot of emotion. Very good. Let me think. A lot of your other pages you handed in were pretty rough. So you got some work ahead of you. Why won't you paste, please? Copy, paste. There we go. So this is page 3 and 4. Very rough, very thumbnaily, so can't say much about it per se. I don't know if that was the right time to say per se, but anyway, can't say much about it yet. So I'll post this in the Discord so you can use it for later. Oh, Caden just posted the page in the, oh my god, it looks great. Okay, so so I'm just gonna go over your pages real quick like this. Mr. Poopy Butthole. Sorry, so that's 3 and 4. That's 5 and 6. Yeah, it's all. We're all just looking at thumbnails. And then this is one of our closer finished pages. I thought you colored this. I would say right now that this boot is way too detailed for the amount of work you're putting into the rest of your scenes. It's a very simple cartoony style. And that's too much. It's kind of incongruous, if you know what I mean. So knock it down. Bring it down a notch. I think you've colored this page if I recall, so I don't want to give too many notes, but the perspective on these poles I would just go ahead and make straight. They look a little weird if they're bent like that. The perspective on this panel is not great to begin with. I would say just on an extremely picky thing. Actually, I want to take a quick break and introduce one of my roommates. Here's Vincent. Hi, buddy. Come here. Oink. Hey, everybody, this is Vincent. This is one of 2. He's a good boy. Okay, get down. The other one can't jump very well, so if she comes in, I'll introduce her. Okay, there we go. Doggy cam. Okay. Alright, so if I'm being really nitpicky, the perspective here isn't great. The lines coming off these steps should match closer. They shouldn't. See how they're all gonna meet right here. They should meet in the distance, not in the foreground, right? And similarly, whatever line you choose with these steps, you could probably just stay the same since they're so close together and they're so small. But the line for the top of the fence should stay the same as well. So let's just say our vanishing point's over here. All of your steps and then your fence are going to hit that vanishing point. So yeah. And then maybe this one too. But maybe not, because that's at a different angle, but still. Anyway, extremely nitpicky, but there are little perspective things like that that'll throw an editor right off. Even in simpler styles like Brian Lee O'Malley with Scott Pilgrim, and like I said, in Steens' work, which is very simple, there are still like perspective guidelines that they follow to make sure that your eyes don't just go, you know, when something's funny like that. So just try to keep an eye on that, everybody. There's more perspective suggestions coming soon with a page I saw coming up. Just follow those basic rules. Just like drawing a human body, right? There's rules you got to follow. So, unless you're drawing Ed, and Eddie, in which case they break all the rules. But okay. So, Sam, I think I'm done with you for the moment. You got some work to do. Like I said, we got 6 weeks to do, and you got 6, 7, 8 pages to finish. So, stick around. When I'm done critiquing, I'll probably give some tips on how to stay on top of things. I'll try to think of it as I'm working. All right. Next, we've got stuff dropped into the Discord. We have yeah, Caitlin stuff. Alright, I think it's mostly perfect. I looked at this, my brain studied it earlier. I think it's mostly just great. Clear message. I don't know that it's a street yet, so maybe draw like the curb right here or something to let us know that this character's on the edge or something. Because I don't know what they're looking at or why. Right? Maybe like some emotes to indicate they're looking. And then maybe like an arrow along the chin to make it look like they quickly turn their head kind of thing. Right? Maybe a dotted line. Just to be extra cartoony. I don't know. Just trying to think. Because I don't see the street, I don't know what's happening. Now, the next panel is them running across the street. So, I could just delay that what's happening idea because it's solved on the next panel. So that's kind of okay. Not a lot of storytelling going on right now. You're just kind of bringing us along for the ride. So if that's got a payoff, then great. Just know that it's not immediately interesting unless there's more narration coming along. That'll sort of give us a hint as to what this person's doing or why. But you're just sort of leading us by the hand. and we're just sort of watching what you're showing us. And at this point, it's just somebody crossing the street and going into a big tall grass field. So from a story standpoint, there's that. I would spend a little extra time on the grass here just to get the point across of what we're looking at. Thanks, Joe. Goodbye. So I don't know what it would take. Maybe looking up a grass field and drawing that. So that might be like some weeds or some more flowers or something. But maybe a shadow coming off your character. But maybe some extra. This is so close to the field here. I feel like something making it look, unless it's, is it grass? Is it wheat? Is it corn? Is it just gnarly foliage? You know, that's a cool band name. Make it look a little more detailed, and then here, once we're pulled out, go back to just random textures. But we're so close, I kind of want to see what it is this person's climbing into. All right, last critique. This lamppost is probably fine, though it's probably a little short. This one is extremely short. There is no way we would see the top of a lamppost in this shot right here. Okay? Mostly because if the street goes down this way, then this lamppost is what? Where is it? Where is it in the ground? Right? In the middle of the street? Or is it in the grass here next to the street where your panel stops? In which case, according to your character's size, this lamppost is what? 6 feet tall? Right? So, I would say either get rid of it, or have the, like if this is your panel border, just have the pole be in the foreground like this. And then if you get around to coloring it, I don't know what sort of technological limitations you've got. If you're going to color this by hand, or if you're going to color it by computer, you could still have light coming off it with your use of color. I think you said this, or if I recall, this is nighttime. So, of course. Why can't I do anything? What's going on? Oh, it's locked. Nope, just can't go to my gradient. I don't know what's happening. Can I tab away or something? There we go. Alright, so say it's nighttime. I'm just going to throw a basic gradient on here. And then, you know, your lamppost could still be giving off light from above the panel. Like this, you know. And then, you know, you could have a little light on the edge of the lamppost, something like that. I don't know. See what I mean? So you don't have to show the top of the light for us to understand that it's a light. Just sort of unnecessary. So same thing in the distance. If you are coloring it, there you go. Right. Anyway, that's it. That lamppost is just a little strange. I would fix that. There's no way you'd see the top of the lamppost in this given situation under those under this scene that you've set out. Otherwise, it's a great page. Love your style. It's pulling us forward. There's nothing wrong with the eye line. So that's it for that page. Good job. Next up, Gigi. There's a very dark image. She likes coloring in the dark, apparently. Of a person getting mushed in the face. It's a very good song, I recall. Okay, so first thing I'm going to talk about, excuse me, is sort of a golden rule with comics. Typically, we draw, unless you're doing like an Agent Smith scene from The Matrix or whatever, your punches are going to happen. You know, here's the wind up. It's a really bad wind up. So arm down, arm here. Here you go. All right. The old why-I-oughta. And then wherever you want to put the camera, right? Say this is the person's lips. and then the punch after. Here's the person's head. Something like that. So it's before and after, typically. Because it's not a movie, so we don't get to see the action. So all we get to see is the before and after. And the reason that is because if you don't get to see the action, all you get to see, you're typically in comics, all you get to see is the before and after, or the during. And you can do some spit, and then punch. Okay, some speed lines, whatever. That's typically how comics work. The trick with, or the problem, and I'm just going to redraw what you did. Here's a face. Here's a fist. It doesn't look like anybody's getting punched. It looks like they're play fighting in the living room, and he just put his fist on his face, right? So it just looks like this is happening. There's no punch. It's just, right? So, to fix your problem, and I know it took a long time to get here, you said you wanted to see a smush face. So, I still think... Well, here, let me show you. I still think showing the after is still going to be a surprise. I did this exact thing. If I can figure out where I am here. Is it book 4? Yep. Alright, so I had this page where our hero fell asleep in a giant robot. And then there's the knees of the robot, and these people come to show up and figure out what's up. You know, she's still alive. So-and-so says, bring her in, checks the pulse, right? Next page. Whack. Right? Or wunch, to be exact. It's very obvious that this person's getting punched. It's the same person from the previous page, and it's a hand that's doing it. And there's blood, and it hurts, and there's mush face, right? So, loud and clear. And then we look after her, and she's you know, beat up, and her eyes burst and all that stuff. It's a bad scene. So the after part can still be just as shocking if you don't see the wind up. The mush face is cool too. It's a long way of me saying that mush face is still fine, but without mush face, which is what you asked for, it looks like the hand is just touching the face, right? Now, I would suggest probably doing some photo reference. Lots of movies, lots of Hollywood and Bollywood productions of people getting hit in the face in slow motion. It's dog number 1 again. Hi, dog. And I just am going to sort of wing it on what I know about the human face and skin and all the slow-mo stuff that I've seen, knowing what the face would do if it gets hit. My dog's asking me to go outside. I'm gonna let my dog out. Be right back. Yeah, okay, so now that I've stepped away, I would agree that if you don't see the punch coming, doing a slow-mo punch on the face is really weird. That's a weird cut. If it's changing scenes, it's a super weird cut, but I don't know your scene, but that's just a strange place to go slow-mo, right? No, I live with my girlfriend, but I was being funny about the roommates thing. So yeah, big puffy hair is definitely gonna get a jostle with the hit. Oh, there's dog number 2. Here comes, this is Freya. She's a little sheepish. There's Freya. Hi, Freya. Hey. There she is. There she is. Can't really... Come here. She's a big tubby. Okay, guys. Go. Alright. Yep, they're both Brendels. They're both plot hounds. They're adorable and well behaved. Very chill. Alright, so there are some things you could do. Some lines. Some extra, like, comic booky impact lines. Some skin folding around the hand for the impact mark. But I'm going to stand by what I said. A surprise punch on the point of impact in slow-mo is a strange choice for me. So, you don't have to change it. I'm just saying it's a little weird. And all I'm asking is that you play with the idea that maybe not do it. But, you know, you saw me talk about Sam's crisscross speech bubble. Oh, my camera's wrong. You guys are all staring at my mouse pad and my stomach. That's weird. Okay. So as you saw me correct Sam, I said, don't do the speech bubble crisscross thing, right? Just don't. I'm not saying that now. If you want to do this, do it. Just entertain the notion of maybe not, right? That's all I'm saying. Also, motion lines would help a lot. Just sort of definitely add to the urgency, the speed of it all. Just whack, right? So, not telling you not to, just giving you reasons not to. The rest is up to you. Okay. Slowly thinning the herd here. Okay. Next, we've got Sabrina's, I believe. Sabrina's got some pages she's been constructing for a while. But let's see. So let's put these together. No, I'm not even saying. I'm not saying definitively don't. I'm just giving you a few reasons why. I wouldn't. You get it. I don't need to talk it to death. Alright, so obviously a lot of this is thumbnailed, unfinished. But I'll speak my piece and we'll move on. This is Sabrina's. A lot of negative space going on here. Lots and lots and lots. Run. I almost said animation, but I would probably bring his arms out a little bit. Just doesn't look like a very boyish. Well, I guess it kind of looks like a boyish run. Boyish runs are sort of flaily and out of control, and it kind of looks like that a little bit. You know, something like this would be fun too. Also, if I can't see the foot, then I'm going to assume the foot's back here, which is weird, right? So I would do that. Anyway. I gotcha. Okay. I've always thought of doing that. Doing like a template background and copy and pasting. I will say that this is a lot of background space for doing it over and over again. Not over and over again, but like there's a lot of negative space here. So, I would say that unless all of this is needed for dialogue, which I hope it's not, because that's way too much reading for a comic book. I despise lengthy books. I'd say if you have to, even my favorite artists do it every once in a while, and they apologize for it on Twitter. They're like, I'm sorry guys, there's 2 pages that are full of dialogue, I had to do it. But he was apologizing. So unless this is all dialogue, that's a lot of negative space twice. Like, we don't need to see the background that much twice in a row. So, that being said, this would be a good moment to zoom in on what's actually happening. So she gave the lizard to the boy. She points at the log. I assume that's part of the conversation. So let's get in on it, right? Let's zoom in on our characters. You know, we want diversity in our shots, and so far every shot on this page is a medium, right? And mostly from the same camera angle. We see their faces. So let's bring it in. Let's get some closes. Let's get some, you know. I would say even this one could be a little bigger. Yeah, mix up your shots. Close, medium, far. Yeah, I would also say, like, if the emphasis is the lizard here, then this seems more important than the background. Like, if your background's already been established, and we want to see the lizard, right? And then, you know, say this one's a lot close up, so we can see the lizard and his face and his expression, and hey, look at this. Then this one is, I would say this is a medium close. And then this one is, let's just call it a medium. So we can see the log. Right. She's pointing at the log. A little more relaxed. Like, she was pointing like this before, like, this log, damn it. Now it's just like, this log, you know. A little more relaxed body posture. And I know you're not done, but it would be cool to see the other half of his body, whatever he's doing. If he's petting the lizard, or maybe his hand is on his other leg, or I don't know, something. Maybe it's back here. Whatever. Yep, no problems here. Same thing. Oh, you are reading right to left. That's right. So it goes this way. And then I guess you got to do this, and then like this. So. Yep, this all looks fine. And then this is sort of a little too unfinished to give a good critique. Just keep going. Keep me informed so I can help you out along the way. Just be mindful of your shots. Like, this is extreme close-up. That's great. Another medium shot. That's good. You got a far-off shot here. That's good. Just be careful of repetition, right? Like, use a lot of camera on a tripod, very matter-of-fact panels, right? Like, here's a hand holding a pencil. That's the panel. Could you do something else with that, right? Is it her pulling the pencil out of her pocket? Or, yeah, like, you got 1, 2, 3. That seems maybe a bit much. You could probably do that in 2 panels. But maybe not. I think this would be really cool if this were a full page width, to be honest. and she's in the middle doing her thing. And it's all sort of starry and magical, and you've got stars here. And then we can start to see the makings of a net as she's drawing. Yeah. Yeah, I would do like a you know, like a line, like a you know, like a line, like an emotion kind of thing. Yeah, if it's a key plot element, then make some spectacle out of it, right? Do a whole page width scene. You know, draw the forest in the background, or maybe do the tops of the trees on this one. So she's like drawing in the sky instead of just right in front of her, right? So maybe have some birds, make it really majestic. Some god rays from the sun shining down on her as she's doing this. So there's really chance to shine here with some special effects and some magic and stuff like that as she's drawing this net across the sky. Yeah, this just seems real matter of fact. Like, here's a pen, but you could do more than that. You could, you know, have them be an overhead shot. This is her head here with her pigtails. You know it's her. How do you hold a pen? Like this. Okay. I'm just saying, make a spectacle out of it. Spectacle out of it. You know, change your camera angles up. Don't spend. Don't take so long showing the drawing of it that it makes smaller parts. No, go on. Makes smaller parts of the art, right? So you cut up her drawing the net so many times, it's not a spectacle anymore. It's just this really cool moment broken up by all these smaller panels, where you need to showcase, like, this is her special ability, this is her thing, this is a magical pen. You know, let's make some bombast out of it, right? Like, you know, now he can be like, you know, oh wow, what kind of pen is this? And she's holding it, so it's not just hand, you know, hand in pen. This is the shot. That's kind of simple. Next is I'm drawing across. Okay, it's not the sky, but she's drawing out in front of her, and then you could, like, on this one, she's like grabbing it out of the air, right? So she wasn't just, now we get it. What was she doing? She's drawing a net in the sky. Okay, what does that mean? And in this panel, she's grabbing it. Oh, she just manifested a net from her drawing. And you could have like some sparkles as she's grabbing it, right? Like you've grabbed a bag of. Oh, you like arguing? I get. Okay, cool. He knows it's magic. So as she's grabbing it, it's like, oh, I've manifested this thing. All right. So I don't know. I feel like I'm forcing your story and forcing you to do things that you don't want to do. So anyway, that was my feedback. Take it or leave it, I suppose. It didn't look special when you're breaking it up at all those multiple panels. I'm just trying to make it look special. So I need to move on. I've just spent like 20 minutes on that, so I'm going to paste that into the Discord. And let's see. We've got Nicole. Sheesh, that is complicated. All right. All right. So you had the question about free transforming. The text, is that right? Anyway, I just got lost in what you guys were saying. Nobody sees their own style. I hate my style, to be honest. But my friends say they could spot my style from across the room. So, like I said, you have to pick out the... you have to pick out your inspirations. Keep them in front of you at all times, like I have in my room here. Obviously, there's stuff all over the walls. That's stuff that inspires me, right? And it influences me every waking moment. At any time I can look around and go, oh, right, let's do that, you know. And then your style will come out of it. So you're not going to copy somebody directly, because that's copying, and that person already exists, so you don't need to draw what they draw. And it's going to get better every time. So you need to stop thinking about style and start thinking about how to communicate a story. And then you need to think about finishing that story. And then you need to think about moving on to the next story. Or if, like, I know you've, Sabrina, you've been sitting on this lore for a while, with your animal characters, right? That could last you the next 10 years. So work in chapters, right? So page 1 is going to look drastically different than page 98. I can show you right now. I worked on a book called Blaster Master, and there are some pages I had to go back and fix because I thought they were hideous. I love the first 8 pages; they're great, but let me find one that's, you know, less than spectacular, in my opinion. I don't know. I went back and changed a lot of them, so yeah, I don't know. These are just sort of so. Yeah, this one's fine, I guess. There's some cool stuff happening. It's a double page spread. That's kind of cool. That's extremely cool. All right. So yeah, whatever. This gets the point across. You know, you just look at this. This is something I did in like 2000. What year is it? About 6 years ago. So 2014 was when I started this. I could probably look at the file. What number is this? 27. 2013. Right, long time ago. And there's a style that I wanted to do. I wanted it simple. I wanted it to look like American manga, right? I see a lot of things I hate about it. I definitely would not draw in this method anymore. And then by the time I finished the book, it looked like this. Right? This is my new style. It's simple, but detail, a lot of technical stuff, hoses, wires, grass, stubble for hair. You know, very proud of this. I love this so much. And I hate my old stuff, but it was 7 years ago, so who cares, right? I mean, even looking at the black and white stuff, I still love this more than the other page I showed you. But it's a completely different style. God, I love that page a lot. So, that was a 5-minute explanation of don't worry about your style, just get it done and put it out. And in a couple years, it won't even matter anymore, because you'll be past it, and it'll be better than what it was. So, but yes, I can see that you're drawing it. It's coming out of you. I can see every page that it came from the same artist. So you are developing your own style. But that's not as important as you putting work out. So just get the work done put it out, and your next book will be better. I know that wasn't your point, but that's my point. Alright, so free transforming text. The reason it's sticking with these constraints and it's staying in basically a square is because Photoshop has limitations on how you can free transform text. So what you have to do is rasterize it. Excuse me. So this is I don't know what they call it. It's not exactly a vector, but it kind of is. This is hard encoded to stay the way it is. I cannot see that. I cannot taper one end of this square. It's stuck in these kind of constraints. Now I can do this kind of stuff, right? But that's not perspective. So what you have to do is rasterize it. So if you can see it, it's under the text, but if you right click on the I'm trying to turn my chat off. Why is it doing this? Go back. Alright. So if you look here where the text is on the right, you right click on it and go to rasterize type. Now after you do rasterize, it's up here underneath my screenshot. It's rasterize type, but once you do that, you can do anything you want with it. But you also can't edit it anymore. So once you rasterize it, you cannot go in there and change the text. Now this is probably something you could do very easily in Illustrator and make it stay editable, but I don't know Illustrator. So I can't help you with that. Anyway, so I can now follow my perspective lines and make this look like it fits the screen. See? Looks like butt because I chose the wrong size, but still. Ta-da! Well done. Actually, that's not quite right. There. Now it fits. Makes sense? Comprendo? And I know this is annoying, but your perspective on your keyboard is opposite of what it should be. You've got lines converging in the foreground. Right? It's converging down here. And it's backwards. It needs to be flip-flopped. So that the keys get smaller up here, not down here. I know that's stupid and annoying. Another thing you could do too is you could draw your keyboard like this. Draw your keyboard ahead of time, flat. This is a Photoshop trick, and you're obviously going digital, so whatever, draw your keyboard, and then grab it and free transform it. Here, let me just show you. So I'm going to grab my keyboard and then free transform it into place. There, done. And then draw your keys in. Draw your keys in before or after, it's fine. Just be careful doing a rough keyboard when it's the thing everybody's looking at. This is the highlight of the scene, so you can't just flub a keyboard because everybody's going to be looking at it, right? So it's the spectacle of this page, so spend some time on it. I also think it's weird that the laptop screen is straight up. I don't do that. I don't think you do that either. And it's also the same thing in the next page, which is causing a bit of a disconnect, so I would probably lean that bad boy back just a little bit. Just a little bit, especially if they're looking at it from above. No, the computer's still... Yeah, the perspective's still wrong on the computer as well. But the keyboard really pointed it out. Yeah. And the table, of course, needs to match. So... so yeah, the screen being straight up and down right here is a little strange. I would probably, unless that's the way you want it, you know? I don't care. But this looks a little less strange. I will say that your character's face probably has... It's kind of a weird jaw right there. It's your character. It's your design. I don't want to create your character's jawline for you. But if this is the hairline, unless the skull is right here, which I doubt. See, that looks like a normal skull. But then the hair would be on top of that, right? So if your hair is on top of the skull, then the skull is like down here. And that means the eyes are like that close to the top of the head. So that's a little strange. So I guess the easiest way to fix this would just be drop the eyes, probably. And the nose, I guess. But draw the skull first, then the hair, guys. Every time. Every time. Now draw the hair on top. Right? Be extra mindful. It's a lot of people really trip over not giving their characters enough skull. Make sure you draw your skull first, then put the hair on top. Capiche? Okay. I don't know what's going on here. I'm okay with like sci-fi gobbledygook, so I'm just gonna roll right through it. It's fine, right? Things are happening. It's fine. Well done though. It's a lot of detail. I would say that you're getting a little lost in the detail back here. Like that's just sort of muddy. I know this isn't the full res file and it's sort of crunched into a JPEG, but you've crammed so much detail into this that it just, I don't really know what's going on anymore. So the problem drawing digital is that I can zoom all the way in and just cram as much little detail into there as possible, you know, that it's just all pixels and it just turns out muddy out here. Like, I don't know what was in, you've obviously done some copying and pasting, so I don't know what's in there, but that doesn't look like anything. So what I like to do, which is what I've been doing with my current page, let me track it back down, series 2, book 1, page 4. Nope. Damn, am I on page 6 already? Awesome. So what I'm doing is I'm keeping my brush at around like, what is this? Yeah, around like a 46 pixels. And I don't shrink. I don't grab anything and shrink it. You know, I could copy these people's faces and do it and then paste them and shrink them. But like, if I take her face and shrink it, then it's just, it's muddy and it's smaller. Like, look how thin these lines are. Like, if this is my brush, look how thin those lines are. It doesn't look like I drew that anymore. It looks like I shrunk it. And like, if I tried to redraw that, I had to shrink my brush. Let's say you know, like, it's just not going to look the same. So if you look at a comic book up close, let me look at one of my old pages that I've already done. It doesn't look like they shrunk anything. When things are... Oh, let me just go back to the page I'm on. Crying out loud. So much going on. When I want to draw things in the background, they just have less detail. Like, look at the detail in this guy's doopy face. I'm going to give him one of these, because why not? And this person's face, pretty simple, compared to our characters in the foreground. Much more detail. Simple, because that's me. But, like, look at these two faces. If I would have shrunk a foreground face, his face would have been muddy with details. But if it's smaller, I just have to do less detail. The point is, when things are in the distance, they have less detail. In comic books. Like, this face is just 3 ink blobs and a mouth with lines around it. As to where she's got, you know, lips and eyeballs and irises and face paint and roses on her dress. You know, look at that. 4 ink blobs and a mouth. But this person has nostrils and smile lines and big Yoda ears and eyelids. You know? So, if you want super sciencey stuff, just draw it. Don't copy and paste. That's why your details are coming out a little muddy. So I don't know what I'm looking at. So I think what you're gonna have to do is just keep your brush size the same and just knuckle in, maybe make it a little smaller, like you're grabbing a technical pen. And just draw it instead of copying and pasting. Let's see here. I googled cluttered science lab. There you go. Draw that. Draw that. There you go. Draw that. Look at that. Open image in new tab. Look at that. Just draw that. So now I've got my photo reference. So I'm clearly going to be drawing a lot of bottles, because that's what it looks like, most of it. There's the shelves have shelves, they have dimension, they're not just a line. And there's like boxes of different shapes here. Luckily we're in a 1-point perspective, so I don't have to worry about perspective. I'm just drawing squares. This box is a little bit open. That's kind of cool. Some more bottles up here. And you can copy a bottle every now and then. Right? There. I just made 3 bottles. But don't copy an entire shelf, shrink it, flip it, rearrange it like a Daft Punk song, right? Like, just do the work, right? No, I don't mean to sound mean. You know me long enough now. I'm not ever purposely trying to be mean. But what you were doing is a shortcut. Plain and simple. Don't do that. There is, you know, there's some artistic snobbery to just doing the work and not finding any shortcuts, and a lot of old artists would even think that using Photoshop at all is a shortcut, and they would, you know, call us less of an artist for being a digital artist and stuff like that. That argument's been going on for decades. And we know that's not true, because you see me right now drawing. If you don't know how to draw, it doesn't matter if you're on a computer or not. Yeah, so I don't know what this machinery is, but there's like a machine here with a jug on top and a dial and a LED readout, and see, I'm just like, yep, see, can't do that. Sorry, can't do that. It's comic books. It's comic books. It's illustration. You just got to do it. You can't say stuff like that. You can't go, oh, it looked like a lot of work, so I just did this. No, sorry. Nope. Not gonna work. Just, put on a podcast, put down Facebook for a minute. My biggest problem is as soon as I get bored, I look up. Oh, what wonder if Facebook is? No, stay focused. Arguing about the coronavirus and shit. And I'm supposed to be doing work. Just do the work. Put on a podcast and just grind. And speaking of shortcuts, did you remember Aiden's junkyard? Did you see that? No, Caden's junkyard. Sorry, Caden's junkyard. Caden didn't make any shortcuts. Caden, I don't remember how many hours you spent. Dozens of hours on that junkyard just drawing junk. So, anyway, I don't want to really rail on you too long. I'm just trying to be motivational to anybody who's feeling like there might be something that takes too much work. You got to just get into your head now. If you want to make comics in the future, you just got to knuckle in and do the work. So, anyway, I don't know how long I've been talking on this, but I've almost filled up this shelf with crap. Because I was talking to you guys, and I just sort of turned my brain off. That's why I like streaming, to be honest. It's so much better to talk to you guys and do the work than let my brain go to Facebook every freaking 5 minutes because I'm so bored. Right? A lot of comicing's boring. I'm not really enjoying drawing all this stuff. But if I want it to look like stuff that I didn't cheat my way through... Yeah, you need to, you definitely need to make sure that your stuff in front is deleting at least some of it. As you saw, I deleted, like, around the perimeter, because that's where the light is getting bent. And whatever is in here needs to delete some of the stuff in the background, because I do not know where things start and stop. Here's a fire I just noticed. But yeah, definitely need to be more selective with what's being seen. And then you've got all this stuff. Yeah, anyway, photo reference. Just find a photo you like and draw it. Can't say it enough. But I gotta move on. I've been talking about junk on a shelf for too long. But yeah, I would just keep going. Look at all this stuff. Look at all this room you've got up here. Just do big bulky stuff. Do a stack of books, right? And I'm just winging it. And it doesn't look great. But it looks hand-drawn. Do a printer. Do a dot matrix printer up here. Right? Another shelf. What's on top of that shelf? More junk. Right? Just gotta go. Yeah. Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, this is the main brush I use for everything. If I just click once, it looks like that. Right? And then as I take turns, it sort of starts to spread out and look less controlled. Pretty neat, right? I don't use the random stuff as much as I should. And pressure sensitivity is wild, so I can get like nice and thin here. Which I'm not used to. This is my first Cintiq. I had a Chinese knockoff before this. So this pressure sensitivity is freaking crazy. So I can do lots of crazy stuff with this. This is the brush I use. But I also have, speaking of cheating, I don't use these anymore. But they're here. Trees. Sometimes I use them. When people can't see them real well, sometimes I use them. There's some wreckage. It's a whole freaking bombed city. Right? Just stuff. So I don't even know what that is. Some kind of crystalline structure. I don't use that at all. Chain link. Anyway. Lots of shortcuts. Photoshop is tricky. But ultimately, you want people to treat you seriously as a comic artist, you've got to just do the work. A good friend of mine, we've become really good friends over the years. My first guy I worked with used a photo as a background in one of the comics we worked on. and it really threw me off. It really, 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 really bothered me. We're not getting paid very well, and we're under a time crunch, and all that shit's bad. The commentary in the industry or whatnot, but it bothered me so much. And then I find out Marvel artists, like I said, use Google SketchUp for their big city backgrounds and stuff. There's a lot of cheating in comic books. I just refuse to do it to some degree, All right. I've been talking for almost 2 hours. I'm going to wrap this up soon. I do want to look at Caden's. I don't know what page this is. 3, if I had to guess. Go. First things first, you mentioned indoor lighting. I think it looks fine. It looks so Saturday morning cartoon, and I freaking love it. It's totally fine. Now, if I were to light it myself, I'll use this one because it's sort of an opportunity to do 2-point. It's always nice if you want lighting to be really exaggerated. It's I lost my train of thought because I was reading the chat. Right, it's really good to have 2 light sources for something that's really dramatic. Actually, I'll do this one because it's basically a pretty flat panel as is. Okay. It's pretty flat, so I'm going to add 2 layers, light 1 and 2. You could just paint it. I wouldn't always do 2 layers like that. I'm just sort of winging it. But so I'm going to do like a faint yellow lighting from outside. Yellow sun and all that stuff. And then a white light, I don't know, what is it? Maybe it's fluorescence up top? I'm not sure. So lighting is one of the most difficult things in all of art. In painting, drawing, illustration, comics, doing pinups, doing commissions. Lighting is the hardest thing. It's literally the study of form. You can draw a 2-dimensional piece of line art, and your brain interpolates what is what and what has form within 3D space. But when you start adding light and shadow, then they start to look 3-dimensional. It's really tough, and I don't know if I can really teach it. I can. That's a different class, though. So, at what point does where does the light hit on this individual's head? So right. And how much of the light's getting hit? Is it a shiny surface? Is it a flat surface? It's not my character, so I don't know exactly how the hair would work. I'm just kind of winging it. And then, how much of the head is lit thanks to the hair, right? If the hair's hanging out over the face, then none of it's getting hit by the hair. So you're going to have a shadow, right? And then you're going to have a shadow under the eyelid, and then under the nose. And then if there's, how deep are their eyelids? And how big are their cheekbones? How much of this is getting hit by light? And then there's not going to be any light under the chin, obviously, right? So the next place to hit the light is probably the chest and the shoulders. And then I'm going to guess maybe just a little bit right here. And then the top of the arm for sure. And then maybe the part of the thumb, top of the hand, and the knuckles, and maybe the first knuckle on all the fingers. Okay. Ugh, awful. Sorry about that. And then same thing with the other side. I'm just making educated guesses on where I feel the light would be landing as we look above this character. And I say educated because I've been doing this for so long that I had a very good understanding, not the best, not top, but a very good understanding of light and shadow on what hits where and why. And until you figure that out, it's going to be extremely frustrating and a constant source of self-doubt as your colors don't look how you want them to. I'm using overlay at the moment. Right? So that, I would say the size of this panel and how much detail is here, that was probably good enough. I don't think we'd need another light source. If I wanted to, though, I'd go in and let's just pretend the window's behind them. And just do some rim lighting. I would say it's not really necessary for a panel this size. Yeah, it's too pixelated, it's too small, not really required. It's interesting, I guess. It doesn't distract. It does a little bit, maybe. But yeah, I think your lighting is fine. I wouldn't beat yourself up over it. It's just going to take some time to really learn how things are lit, especially top-down lighting, underneath lighting, you know. A lot of YouTube tutorials are going to teach you how to do that. Of course, I can do it. Yeah, just think of directions, right? So we got white fluorescent light coming from above, and then we've got, you know, some natural kind of sunlight coming in from the window. So if this was a ball, some light is going to hit here from the top, and depending how shiny the ball is going to affect your lighting. And then as light gets further around from the source and starts to bend around the sphere, it's going to fade off, right? But then you've got this side lighting coming in from the side, doing its own thing. But which light is brighter? Is the top light brighter than the window light? And then you've got a shadow. Right? But is the ball light? So is the ball reflecting its own light on the ground, right? So, or is the ground green and you're getting reflection from the ground on the ball? Right? So there's all kinds of stuff. It's basically a big old rabbit hole getting into lighting and shadow and stuff like that. You know, for all intents and purposes, on a realistic painting, this guy's face is absolutely going to be reflecting green on his chin. Looks weird without being the only thing here, but a bright green shirt is going to reflect on his face. Same here. Bright white shirt. Definitely under the nose, under the chin, probably under the eyebrows a little bit. Just how that works. So, yeah, lighting is a big beast. So, I would just focus on maybe one directional lighting for now. You know, say your light's coming from up here. You know, how's this going to hit your robot? Was it, I don't remember the robot's name. Clink or something like that, wouldn't it? Just get a big soft brush and alright, that's a little bit more shape. And maybe just not worry about backlighting at the time. Just work on adding a single light source for now. You know, a lot of times my projects are so rushed that I'm fine with a single light source most of the time. Like I said, unless it's supposed to be really extreme or what's exaggerated or whatever, dramatic. Look at that, one light source, totally fine. Anyway, so yeah, just keep grinding at it, guys. Just like perspective, just like drawing junk on a science, you know, shelf. It's just practice. You just got to keep grinding at it. You'll get better every year. Maybe every 6 months if you're really just don't stop. Just like kind of going to the gym, you're not going to see results very quickly. You know, just like we don't get fat overnight. I wasn't 30 pounds lighter yesterday. It took me a long time to get to the weight I am now, or whatever. You get it. Stupid point, but still. I mean, yeah, just because, I don't know, I was theorizing that yellow sunlight would be coming in from the windows and white light would be coming from those fluorescents. A lot of times, though, if I want fluorescence to feel kind of sickly, I'll do like a slight green hint to it, just to add character to the scene. You know, I've done like autopsy rooms that are kind of greenish before. And then, you know, of course, if you look at movies, especially Spielberg movies, they're all washed out. There's hardly any color at all. It's very chromatic. And then you look at, remember the Underworld movies, the vampire movies? Look, I'm just going to type Underworld movies. Look. Everything's blue. Everything's blue. All these movies are blue. Look. Everything's blue. At no point in this movie is anything other than blue, ever. And they didn't shoot the scene like that. That's just a marble hallway. That's probably a lot of brown in that shot. But look how blue these movies are. Look at this. No scene in the world looks like that. So, you could sort of also pick what color you want to use to portray a scene, right? Right. Okay. So, for those of you trying to find the time to do all this, this will be my last point, and then I probably need to go eat. All right. So a page a week. I would say, you know, hopefully your thumbnails are done. We tried to do that the last day of school. So now you just get in pencil. So I would just, everybody likes, some people like finishing a page one at a time. Some people like doing all the pencils and then doing all the inks and doing all the colors. I think you go at your own tempo, whatever works best for you. It should only take you 8 or 10 hours to do a page. So if you can allocate 8 or 10 hours a week to do that, find a way to do that. Is that 2 hours a day until you're done? Is that one day you spend all day on that page? I don't know what other classes are expecting from you, but you gotta, and you're working from home, you have to set boundaries with your friends and your family and your social media and stuff like that. So hey, it's 3 o'clock. So from 3 to 5, I am off limits. I'm not gonna answer my phone unless it's an emergency. I can't do the dishes. I can't take the trash out. I'll do all that at 5 o'clock or whatever. You know, not to assume all of you live with your parents, but like, you know, put everything aside. Even if it's your girlfriend or boyfriend or, I don't know, roommates, friends, of course. Friends are like, hey, well, you can't meet up now, can you? So you should have nothing but time right now. But put your social media aside for a few hours. Just say every day from 3 to 5, I'm going to work on this comic book until it's done. And then do that for the rest of your life. Right? So you can get stuff done. Because when this is done, you should just roll right into the next project, if you like it. If you don't like turning your brain off and drawing mindless junk on the shelf, science junk, then honestly, comics might just bounce off you. You might just go, this isn't very fun. I don't like switching my brain off and drawing pebbles on a beach for 12 hours. You know, like Caden did with his junkyard, right? That's not you. That's not you. But this class is a lot about discovering what it takes to make a comic, and some of my students figuring out that it's not for them. You might like reading them more than drawing them. You might like drawing people but hate drawing backgrounds, which isn't going to work. You might like drawing animals but not people. That could work, but you have to draw forests and castles and Best Buys and McDonald's, and you got to draw it all, right? So, sort of off track here, but you have to allocate time. Yeah, and you got to know when to finish and when to move on. You know, like I said, if it's like with Aiden's piece, it was clear. I figured out as soon as I opened the page. Oh, he cut that guy in 3 places. Fine, move on. You know, so a professional like me was able to see it and make some suggestions. But if it's clear and you show it to your dad and he goes, "Oh, cool," and that makes sense. You know what's going on? Yeah, he's cutting that guy in 3 pieces. Cool, you're done. If somebody who doesn't read comics can look at it and figure out what's going on, you've proved your point, and you can move on to the next page. And like I said, next year the next book will be better. So you just do everything you can so it looks good enough and clear, and you move on to the next page. But don't cheat. Do the work. Maybe discover along the way that you don't like doing the work, and that's fine. But to get a good grade, you got to finish your work. So just tough through it for another few weeks. Finish your book. Find the time to do it. I hope that answered your question. I know a lot of people wanted inspiration and like freelance strategies and stuff like that. So I'll just tell you my day, okay? It's been a little wacky lately. I'm staying up till 3, and that's really hurting. Typically, I get up by 9 or 10, make my cup of coffee, sit down at the computer till about 2 o'clock. Used to go to the gym. Now I work out at home, and it's freaking awful. So I'll work out for an hour or 2, depending on how long it takes. And then I'll make myself a snack, and then I'll sit back down and work until my girlfriend gets home. Then we'll make dinner, watch some TV till about 9, go back to work till about 11 or 12, and then I'll play 2 hours of video games and go to sleep. That's basically my day. It's a little scattered. Sometimes she comes home early, sometimes she doesn't go to work at all. Sometimes I have to run errands because I'm freelance, so people think they could just ask me whatever they want at any point in the day, and I'll just go do it. So I have to say no a lot. There's a skill in saying no. I can forward you some literature on that if you really have a hard time telling people no, but that's a life skill. But yeah, allocating time away from your friends and temptation. I don't play video games before 10 p.m. Sometimes I'm done at 10. Sometimes I've done enough work today. 10 o'clock is my cutoff time. I'm going to go play Bleeding Edge for 4 hours. And I regret it the next day because I could have been doing something else. But 10 o'clock is my video game cutoff. I will not touch it because I know if I one more level, oops, 3 hours passed and my clients hate me. So allocate time, be structured, be rigid, enforce it, and that's how you work from home. So you develop this skill now while schools are shut down, and you have a lifelong skill of figuring out how to work from home. So, but look at that. It's been 1 hour and 59 minutes. That's pretty perfect. My mouth is dry, and I'm tired of talking. I've been talking for 2 hours. So I'm going to make something to eat and get back to work, like I said. So if you guys have any questions, throw it up in the Discord. I guess I'll probably do a YouTube sign-off since I'm public. If you guys want to join my Discord, just send me a message on YouTube or whatever. You can go to sketchsawyer.com. Sketch Sawyer on Twitter, Sketch Sawyer everywhere else. But guys, class, thanks for watching. I hope you learned something. Again, I'll help you every moment I have in the Discord. So keep working. You guys are doing great. Stay on top of this. Don't fall behind. And some of you I'll see tomorrow. The rest of you I'll see next week. Bye, everybody.